Ever had that moment in D&D? You know, the dice are rolling, tension's high, you're about to land that perfect blow, and then bam!
Yeah.
Suddenly you're stumbling around like you just walked into a wall. Or maybe your heroic charge just grinds to a halt because your legs have decided they're done.
Yeah, happens
Yeah.
all the time. And those game-changing moments, they often boil down to one thing. Conditions.
Exactly.
Conditions.
Yeah, think of conditions in D&D as like the secret sauce. They spice up every encounter.
That's a good way to put it.
They're the rules that dictate how different effects could be a goblin's nasty bite, could be a powerful spell, how they actually alter what a creature can, and maybe more importantly, can't do in the game.
Right. It's not just about hit points and damage.
No, conditions add this whole other layer. Tactical depth, you know.
And understanding these conditions, well, it's almost like unlocking a cheat code for D&D, isn't it?
It really is.
For us players, it's about smart strategy. How can we slap these onto our enemies? How do we break free when they're used against us?
And for DMs, too. Oh, yeah, for DMs out there, mastering conditions is key. Crafting memorable, challenging encounters that go beyond just basic stat blocks.
Totally.
So today, we're going on a mission. We're going to dissect the core conditions in D&D, explain exactly what they mean for gameplay, and hopefully arm you with the knowledge to use them like a pro.
And we're pulling all this straight from the core rule books. So, you know, it's official stuff.
The real deal.
That's right. And look, while some conditions are definitely a pain, I mean, imagine being paralyzed mid-swing.
Oof.
Others can actually be your golden ticket to victory. Like suddenly becoming invisible.
Yeah.
That can completely turn the tables.
Definitely. So ready to dive deep into the world of D&D conditions.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. Okay, let's kick things off with one that can turn even the bravest warrior into a bit of a liability. Blinded.
Right, blinded.
What's the immediate impact when a creature loses its sight?
Well, okay, the most obvious thing is, blinded creature can't see. Shocker, I know. But the rules lay out some very specific mechanical effects. First off, automatic failure on any ability check that relies on sight.
So, trying to spot a hidden trap, read some runes.
Forget it. Not happening if you're blinded. It's like trying to thread a needle with your eyes closed. Futile.
Wow, okay. That's a major setback, especially for characters who rely on perception.
Yeah. Huge setback. And combat. Gets pretty hairy, too.
I bet. How so?
Well, attack rolls against the blinded creature, they have advantage.
So they're easier to hit.
Much easier. Attacker rolls 2 dice, takes the higher. Good odds for them.
And for the poor blinded soul.
The flip side. The blinded creature itself has disadvantage on any attack rolls they make. Roll 2 dice, take the lower. Trying to fight effectively when you can't see your opponent. It's a recipe for disaster, really.
Makes total sense. Okay, let's move on. How about a condition that sounds maybe deceptively harmless? Charmed.
Charmed. Yeah, it's interesting.
What's the catch? What does being charmed actually do?
So, being charmed means a creature is magically influenced by another creature, the charmer.
Okay.
And this isn't just about being like best buddies all of a sudden. It comes with some really crucial limitations on what the charmed creature can do.
Like what?
Like, they absolutely cannot attack the charmer. Period. And they can't target the charmer with any harmful abilities or magical effects either.
Hold on. So if you manage to charm that, I don't know, rampaging ogre that was about to flatten you,
Yep.
suddenly it just stops. It can't even try to attack you.
Exactly. It's a fantastic way to diffuse a really dangerous situation.
Yeah.
Takes the immediate threat off the table.
That's powerful. Anything else?
Oh, yeah. There's a bonus for the charmer, too. They get advantage on any ability checks made to interact socially with the charmed creature.
Okay. So like persuasion checks, deception.
Exactly. Trying to persuade a guard to let you pass, maybe intimidate a witness, or even just sweet-talk someone into giving up some crucial info. Being charmed can make those social encounters much, much smoother for the charmer.
Yeah. Very clever. Okay, let's talk about a more straightforward sensory thing. Deafened.
Deafened. Right.
If you can't hear, what's the actual in-game consequence?
It's similar to being blinded with sight-based checks. A deafened creature automatically fails any ability check that requires hearing.
So eavesdropping is out. Listening for footsteps.
Out. Understanding a verbal command across a noisy battlefield? Probably not happening. You're completely out of luck if you're deafened for those things.
It might seem simple, but yeah, in a game that often relies on communication and environmental cues.
It can be surprisingly debilitating. Don't underestimate it.
Definitely a condition you don't want when you're trying to be sneaky. Okay, now let's tackle one that's more of a slow burn, but incredibly dangerous. Exhaustion.
Exhaustion, yeah, this one's unique.
This isn't just feeling a bit tired after a long hike, is it?
Absolutely not. Exhaustion is a special condition, and it has 6 distinct levels. Each one stacks up, adding increasingly severe penalties.
6 levels. Wow. How do you get it?
All sorts of hazards. Extreme weather, certain monster attacks, even just pushing your body way beyond its limits without proper rest. It's like a meter that gradually fills up with bad news.
Okay, let's break these levels down, one by one. Level 1. What's the first sign you're pushing too hard?
Level 1 exhaustion. Disadvantage on all ability checks.
All of them. Strashter, Dex, Con, everything.
Everything. Strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. Anytime you're rolling a d20 for an ability check, you roll twice and take the lower result. It just makes you less reliable at basically everything you try to do.
That's already a significant hindrance. Okay, what about level 2? Things start getting more serious, I'm guessing.
They do. At level 2, your speed is halved.
Halved. So if you normally move 30 feet...
You're lumbering along at just 15 feet. That can be a real problem in combat, obviously, or if you're trying to escape danger. Positioning becomes much harder.
Yeah, that could leave you really vulnerable, unable to maneuver. Level 3 sounds even worse.
You're not wrong. Level 3 exhaustion brings disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws.
Ouch. Both.
Both. So you're not only less likely to hit your targets, but you're also more susceptible to enemy attacks, spells, other harmful effects. Anything requiring a save, basically. It's a real double whammy of bad rolls.
Yikes. Okay, level 4. This feels like a slippery slope.
It absolutely is. Level 4 exhaustion cuts your hit point maximum in half.
Half?
Yep. Just chops it right down. This drastically reduces your ability to withstand damage, makes you incredibly fragile in a fight.
That's a massive blow to survivability. Okay, level 5. This is getting genuinely scary now.
Level 5 essentially grounds you. Your speed is reduced to 0.
0, so you can't move at all?
Not under your own power, no. You're completely reliant on others to move you around, drag you, carry you, whatever.
Wow. And level 6, I think. I think we all know where this is heading.
Unfortunately, yeah. A creature that reaches level 6 exhaustion dies. Just dead. It's a stark reminder of the dangers of overexertion, starvation, freezing. All those harsh realities in the worlds of D&D.
Grim indeed. So how do adventurers find themselves climbing this ladder of exhaustion? And more importantly, how do they climb back down?
Right, so various effects can inflict one or more levels of exhaustion. A forced march, a nasty spell, some monster ability. What's crucial to remember is how it stacks.
Okay.
If you're already exhausted, say level 1, and you get hit by another effect that causes, let's say, one more level of exhaustion.
You go to level 2.
Exactly. Your current level just increases by the amount specified. It stacks, but linearly, one level at a time. You don't suddenly get double disadvantage or anything weird like that.
Okay, so no complex stacking rules, just a steady march towards level 6 if you're not careful. What about relief? Is there a light at the end of this very dark, tiring tunnel?
Thankfully, yes. Finishing a long rest that's typically 8 hours reduces your exhaustion level by 1.
Just 1 level per long rest.
Just 1. But there's a catch. Only if you've also had adequate food and drink during that rest.
Ah, so no skimping on rations.
Exactly. You need proper recovery.
Yeah.
Also, being raised from the dead, like with Revivify or Raise Dead, that also reduces your exhaustion level by 1.
Interesting.
And some specific spells or special abilities might also remove levels of exhaustion, so you always got to read those descriptions carefully.
Good to know there's a way back from the brink. Okay, let's shift gears. How about a condition that plays on a creature's primal instincts? Frightened.
Frightened. Yeah, the classic fear effect.
What happens when fear really grips a character?
Well, a frightened creature has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls, but only while the source of its fear is within their line of sight.
Oh, only while they can see it.
Correct. If that terrifying dragon flies behind a mountain or you duck behind cover, that particular penalty might lift temporarily. But as long as you can see what's scaring you...
You're less effective.
Right. It's hard to focus, hard to aim, hard to think straight when you're that scared.
Makes sense. Fear can be incredibly debilitating mentally and physically. Is that the only effect of being frightened, though?
Not quite. There's a movement restriction, too. A frightened creature has this powerful aversion to the source of its fear. They can't willingly move closer to it.
Can't move closer.
At all.
Not willingly. So if you're trying to reach an objective, maybe rescue someone, and the thing you're terrified of is standing right there, you physically can't just walk towards it. You'll have to find another way, or maybe get pushed, or somehow overcome the fear first.
Ah, so it's a tactical disadvantage too.
Yeah.
Controls your positioning. Okay, what about when you find yourself physically held? Let's talk about being grappled.
Grappled, right. Classic wrestling move, D&D style.
What's the deal?
When a creature is grappled, its speed immediately becomes 0.
0. So you're stuck.
Stuck in place. And you can't benefit from any bonuses to your speed either, so no haste spell helping you wiggle free speed-wise anyway. You're held fast by your attacker or maybe tangled in magical vines, whatever caused the grapple.
Like being caught in a sticky web or something. How do you break free?
Well, the condition ends immediately if the grappler becomes incapacitated. Oh, so if you knock them out.
Exactly. If they're stunned, paralyzed, unconscious, they can't maintain the grapple. It also ends if some effect forcibly moves the grappled creature out of the grappler's reach.
Like a thunderwave spell pushing you away.
Precisely. Or maybe a teleportation spell. Anything that breaks that physical proximity or the effect itself. You can also usually use your action to try and escape, making a skill check.
Got it. Okay, what about a more general state of just being unable to act? Let's discuss the incapacitated condition.
Incapacitated. This one's kind of a baseline for several other nastier conditions.
So?
Simply put, an incapacitated creature can't take any actions or reactions.
No actions or reactions.
They're essentially taken out of the fight temporarily. They can't attack, can't cast spells, can't use bonus actions that are actions, can't take opportunity attacks, nothing proactive.
Wow, that sounds like a really vulnerable state to be in. You're just there.
Exactly. You basically just stand there or lie there, unable to defend yourself or contribute. You become a passive participant, completely at the mercy of whatever's happening around you.
Okay, let's switch gears completely. Talk about a condition players often want. Invisible.
Yes, invisibility. The rogue's best friend.
What are the perks of being unseen?
Well, being invisible means, obviously, you can't be seen without the aid of magic, like see invisibility, or some kind of special sense like blind sight or true sight.
Right.
And for the purposes of hiding. An invisible creature is considered heavily obscured. That grants a massive advantage on dexterity, stealth checks. You become a master of sneaking around.
So you can basically become a ghost, slipping past enemies totally unnoticed.
Pretty much, yeah. But it's important to remember that while you're unseen, you're not necessarily undetectable.
Ah, okay. How so?
Any loud noises you make, clanking armor, shouting, or, tracks you leave behind in mud or snow, those can still give away your position, or at least your general location.
Right, so silence is golden. Maybe avoid wearing those noisy plate boots if you're going for the ninja approach.
Good plan. And what about combat advantages?
Yes, combat.
In combat, attack rolls against an invisible creature have disadvantage. Makes sense, right? Hard to hit what you can't properly see.
Makes perfect sense.
Conversely, the invisible creature's own attack rolls have advantage. Because their opponents are struggling to pinpoint their exact location, can't dodge effectively. It's a significant edge, both offensively and defensively.
Nice. Okay, now let's talk about being completely immobilized, like totally frozen.
Real.
Paralyzed.
Ooh, paralyzed. This is a nasty one. Really nasty.
How does that impact a character?
Okay, so first off, a paralyzed creature is incapacitated.
Right, so no actions or reactions. We just covered that.
Exactly. They also lose all ability to move or speak. Just frozen solid. On top of that, they automatically fail all strength and dexterity saving throws.
Autofill on strength and dex saves. Wow.
Yep. Makes them incredibly susceptible to spells like Fireball or effects that require physical resistance or dodging.
Sounds pretty dire already. Does it get even worse? I feel like it gets worse.
Oh, it does. Attack rolls against a paralyzed creature have advantage, just like with, say, a blinded creature. But here's the kicker.
Uh-oh.
Any attack that hits a paralyzed creature from an attacker within 5 feet is automatically a critical hit.
Automatic critical hit.
Automatic crit, if you're right next to them, you hit. That's potentially double damage dice. Absolutely brutal.
Ouch. Yeah, that's a brutal combination. Okay, what about when someone's turned into a literal statue? Yeah. Petrified sounds, well, permanent.
Petrified. Yeah, this is a very significant, often campaign-altering condition.
How does it work?
A petrified creature, along with any non-magical items they're wearing or carrying, is transformed into a solid, inanimate substance. Usually stone, but the description allows for other things.
Turned to stone.
Yep, and their weight increases tenfold, so good luck moving them easily. And, incredibly, they stop aging entirely while petrified.
Frozen in time as a rock, literally. What can they actually do in this state?
Nothing. They're incapacitated, so no actions, no reactions. They also can't move or speak, and they are completely unaware of their surroundings. They're essentially just an object, a statue, like you said.
That sounds like a pretty effective way to take someone out of a fight, or maybe even the whole game, until someone finds a way to reverse it. Are they at least hard to damage? Like a statue?
They are surprisingly resilient, actually. Attack rolls against a petrified creature still have advantage, and they automatically fail strength and dexterity saving throws, just like you'd expect from a statue.
Okay.
However, they gain resistance to all damage.
Resistance to everything.
Everything. Makes them tough to actually destroy. They're also immune to poison and disease while petrified. Although any existing poisons or diseases they already had, they're just suspended, paused, they'll kick back in if the petrification ends.
Wow. So incredibly durable, but completely out of commission and unaware. Fascinating. Let's talk about a more common affliction, maybe.
Poisoned.
Poisoned.
Yeah.
Yep, you see this one a lot from traps, monster bites, nasty spells. What's the effect? How bad is it?
It's straightforward, but impactful. A poisoned creature suffers from disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks.
Attack rolls and ability checks.
Both. So, much like the first level of exhaustion, they become less effective at almost everything they try to do. Swinging a sword, picking a lock, trying to persuade someone. All harder when you're poisoned.
Definitely not the state you want to be in when facing a tough challenge. Okay, what about when you just fall over or get knocked down? Prone.
Prone, lying on the ground.
What are the mechanics?
Okay, so a prone creature's only movement option is to crawl. Crawling costs extra movement, usually 1 extra foot for every foot you move, so it's slow and cumbersome.
Unless you stand up.
Right, unless they spend half their movement speed to stand up, which immediately ends the prone condition. Also, while you're prone, you have disadvantage on your own attack rolls.
Disadvantage on attacks while prone. Always.
Almost always. There's a niche exception sometimes mentioned, but the core rule is disadvantage.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right? Harder to fight effectively from the ground.
Yeah. So you're slow and less accurate when you're down. What about attacks targeting you?
Here's where positioning really matters. Attack rolls against a prone creature have advantage if the attacker is within 5 feet.
Advantage for melee attackers, basically.
Exactly. Get up close, and the prone target is easier to hit. However, if the attacker is further than 5 feet away.
Like a ranged attacker, an archer.
Yep. They actually have disadvantage on the attack roll against the prone creature.
Oh, interesting. So being prone is bad against melee, but good against ranged.
Generally speaking, yes. It creates this interesting dynamic based on distance. Makes you think about whether standing up is always the best option.
Definitely a key tactical consideration. Okay, now let's talk about being held against your will, but maybe in a more restrictive way than just grappled. What about restrained?
Restrained. Right? Think nets, magical webs, constricting vines.
How's it different from grapple?
Well, a restrained creature's speed becomes 0, and they can't benefit from any speed bonuses. That part's the same as grappled. But the restrictions go further. They also have disadvantage on their own attack rolls.
Unlike grappled.
Right, and attacks against them have advantage.
Also unlike grappled.
Correct. And one more thing. They suffer disadvantage on dexterity saving throws.
Dex saves too. Ouch.
Yeah. Makes them easier targets for things like Fireball or Dragon Breath, spells that often require dex saves to avoid the full effect.
So it's like being grappled, but significantly worse? Penalties to your attacks, easier to hit, and worse dex saves.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a much more debilitating form of being held in place.
Got it. What about being momentarily, overwhelmed, stunned?
Stunned. This often comes from things like a monk's stunning strike or certain spells. It's usually short-lived but very potent.
What does do?
A stunned creature is incapacitated.
Okay, no actions or reactions.
Right. They also can't move. And they can only speak falteringly, like incoherently.
Yeah.
Basically useless communication.
Incapacitated, can't move, can barely speak.
And they automatically fail strength and dexterity saving throws.
Auto-fail stride dex saves again. Like paralyzed.
It's like paralyzed, yep. And attack rolls against them have advantage.
Advantage to hit them, too. Wow. So stunned is almost like a mini paralysis, but maybe without the auto-crit.
That's a decent way to think about it, yeah. It's a brief but really significant period of helplessness. Total shutdown for a turn, usually.
Sounds like a prime opportunity for the stunned creature's enemies to really capitalize. Pile on the damage.
Absolutely. A well-timed stun can totally swing a fight. Okay, finally, let's cover the last major condition on the list. Unconscious.
Unconscious.
Right. This often happens when you drop to 0 hit points, but also from sleep spells, poisons, etc.
What are the effects?
An unconscious creature is incapacitated. Can't take actions or reactions. They can't move or speak, and they're completely unaware of their surroundings, out cold.
Right. Makes sense.
They immediately drop anything they're holding. Sword, shield, magic wand, clatter. And they fell prone if they weren't already.
Drop items and fall prone. Got it. Saves. Attacks.
They automatically fail strength and dexterity saving throws, just like paralyzed and stunned. And attack rolls against them have advantage.
Advantage to hit. And is there an auto crit thing here too?
There is. Just like with a paralyzed creature, any attack that hits an unconscious creature from an attacker within 5 feet is automatically a critical hit.
Ah, okay. So very similar effects to being paralyzed overall. Incapacitated, immobile, unaware, auto-fail stride X saves, advantage to hit, auto-crit within 5 feet, plus the dropping items and falling prone.
Exactly. It signifies being completely helpless and vulnerable, a critical moment of vulnerability for sure.
Definitely. Phew, okay. That's a lot of conditions.
It is. And here's a crucial little rule to remember about all these conditions. If multiple effects impose the same condition on a creature, say 2 different spells both try to poison you.
Do the effects stack, like double disadvantage?
No, they don't stack or worsen in that way. The creature simply has that condition. You're either poisoned or you're not. However, and this is important, each instance of the condition might have its own duration or its own way of ending. So even if one effect that caused the poisoning ends, you might still be poisoned if the other effect is still active.
That's a really important distinction. You track each source separately, even if the mechanical effect doesn't get worse.
Exactly right. You're either poisoned or you're not, no matter how many things are trying to poison you at once. But you might stay poisoned longer.
Well, this has been an incredibly thorough deep dive into the world of D&D conditions. It really is amazing how these seemingly simple rules can add so much depth, so much strategic complexity to our games.
Absolutely. And mastering these conditions, it isn't just about memorizing a list of effects from the player's handbook.
No.
It's about really understanding the tactical landscape of D&D, unlocking deeper strategic possibilities. It doesn't matter if you're a player just trying to survive a tough encounter or a DM trying to craft a truly engaging one. Knowing these conditions inside out is key.
So, for your next D&D session, maybe for you listening right now, I want you to really think about this. How could a clever, maybe unexpected application of a less obvious condition, like maybe charmed, to influence an enemy's decisions?
Yeah, or maybe frightened to control where they can move on the battlefield.
Exactly. How could that completely change the outcome of an encounter? It's not always about just dealing the most damage, you know? Sometimes a well-placed condition, used smartly, that can be the ultimate game changer.
That's a fantastic point to ponder. And hey, we'd love to hear about your own memorable D&D moments involving conditions. Share them down in the comments below.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us those stories where a condition, maybe when you inflicted or when you suffered, had a really surprising impact on your adventure. We're always fascinated to hear how these rules actually play out in your unique games.
Definitely. And if you found this deep dive into D&D's conditions helpful and you're hungry for more breakdowns of the games, intricate rules, or maybe other deep dives into the world of tabletop role-playing,
Let us know.
yeah, let us know what topics you'd like us to explore next. Your suggestions really do help shape what we cover in future discussions.
Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive into D&D conditions. If you learned something new today, or just enjoyed the chat, be sure to hit that like button.
Please do.
And subscribe to the channel for more in-depth explorations of the mechanics and the magic that make Dungeons & Dragons just so captivating. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.